Was Bad Blood overall a back-to-front banger that kept you riveted the whole time? No. Was it one of the best WWE PLEs this year or even in the last 6 months? Overall, no. Did it feature one of the best matches in recent memory? Absolutely. Did it also feature a very exciting cinematic storyline-driven ending that kept you on the edge of your seats? Yes. Mix it all together. This is my review of WWE's 2024 Premium Live Event, Bad Blood. Welcome to Silo Voice Wrestling on YouTube and the Silo Voice Wrestling Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jason C. McLean. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and of course, ring that bell for notifications for all my wrestling hot takes, cold takes, simmering takes, WWE Premium Live Event reviews like this one, PLE prediction videos, assorted thoughts on Raw and SmackDown, and wrestling opinion pieces. Now, I'm recording this a bit late, October the 16th, so I've seen 2 Raws and the SmackDown that followed this Bad Blood PLE, so definitely that's going to affect what I'm saying about it. I'm not going to pretend like I just watched it. Also, I'm going to do my letter grading. It seemed to work well in the last few videos. Of course, let me know what you think about that. So let's get right into it with the opening match. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, Hell in a Cell. Now, I said in my prediction video, I thought this match would go on first, but really was the main event. And I was right. I'm not the only one who said it. Obviously, this was the rubber match. I mean, there's been months of build-up with Drew knocking out Punk in storyline, Punk screwing over Drew out of championships a few times. Then we had the match with Seth Rollins as the referee. Then we had the strap match. And now it's time to enter the most dangerous, deadly structure, Hell in a Cell. Drew took an early lead, but Punk came back. There was a lot of back and forth. They pulled out a table, but it broke. So they used the bottom of the table, which is something you don't see in WWE that often. I guess to work on the table, Punk pulled out a toolbox, but Drew went to work on Punk with one of the tools, getting the first blood of the match. Then Punk came off the ropes with the toolbox itself used as a weapon. Content warning, the next picture is bloody quite a bit. If you want to skip it, skip ahead to the next match, because Drew bled way more than expected. Yeah, this looked like a hard way. Punk's was definitely a blade job, something that WWE had avoided or almost outright banned. Now it's okay under the new regime as long as they don't do it too often. But Drew, I think that toolbox busted him more open than he thought he would be busted open. At one point, the referee even came in to a chorus of boos to sort of towel off Drew. Punk got Drew in the sharpshooter. Second time he's done this in a few months. But it's a no DQ match, so the only way Drew was able to break the hold was to take what looked like a wrench from the toolbox and hit Punk with it. Punk got the wrench, but Drew hit him with a low blow, reminiscent of what Punk did to Drew when he was wearing referee garb back in Scotland. Drew emptied a bag on Punk, everyone thinking it's thumbtacks, including me. But of course it wasn't. It was the beads from the friendship bracelet. When I saw it on camera, I'm like, yeah, that's so great. Drew sets up a claymore, but he slips and takes a nasty bump on the stairs. Punk wraps the chain around his leg, hits the go to sleep. 1, 2, 3, your winner, CM Punk. Punk leaves the cell with Drew, a bloody mess inside, starts heading up the walkway, but he falls down. EMTs come, they give him oxygen, they try to revive him. He's really selling what just happened to him, but eventually he gets to his own feet and leaves Bad Blood on his own feet, the winner. Okay, so this one, it's not that hard to grade. Story, A+. In-ring storytelling, A+. In-ring action, A+. Crowd reaction, A+. Crowd was into it, even though this was a long match. They kept getting more and more into it. And the fifth one I'm adding is, did it keep my attention? Did I like it? A+. Overall, A+. But of course, this is one of the might be the match of the year in WWE. It's definitely one of the best Hell in a Cell matches in the last several years. I mean, admittedly, I only really started rewatching in 2020, late 2022. And I think I've seen like 1 or maybe 2 Hell in a Cell matches since then. But I'm really glad I got to see this match. Even though it was on first, I I mean, this is perfect. It's Hell in the Cell. No, when I think of Hell in the Cell, I think of the original two, like the one with Undertaker's versus Shawn Michaels and Mick Foley versus Undertaker, where they're on the top and all that. And that sort of set the tone for a lot of the Hell in the Cell matches, and it became a regular event for no reason. But this is exactly what it's for. It's a blood feud. Bad blood. It's two people that hate each other, and this is the only way they can settle things. And it stays inside the cell. They're trapped in the cell. It's, of course, really violent. It's one of those matches where definitely, if you're going to do blood occasionally, it should be in a match like this. The way it progressed, it all made sense. It was violent, and the icing on the cake was when for me at least, was when I saw that it was the beads from the friendship bracelet, bringing that back, not the not thumbtacks as you'd expect in a Hell in the Cell match. There were other callbacks too, like the sharpshooter. It seems to be a new thing that Punk's added to his repertoire, maybe a tribute to Bret Hart. Who knows? Apparently, I heard reports that I think, I don't know, Sean Ross Sapp, Meltz, or someone like that said that apparently the referees asked Drew if he was okay, and he said if he felt woozy, they go right to the finish, but he didn't feel woozy. And no, they both put on a great job. And also the selling after the match too, and subsequently on Raw, I saw the next Raw where Punk basically acted like he was injured. It's probably a way for him to get out of the Saudi show, but that's a whole other story. They made it believable, violent, believable, and it's a way to end that feud for at least a while so they can actually, once they recover, go on to do other things. These were two pros, and I think this might be both of their most memorable matches overall. I mean, Punk's had a lot. Definitely might be one of Drew's most memorable matches, at least in WWE. And it's something I'll definitely remember. It was incredible. And by definition, it is a tough act to follow. So let's go with what followed it. For the WWE Women's Championship, the champion Nia Jax defends against challenger and former champion Bayley. As Samantha Irvin introduced the champion and challenger, the one person that felt missing from that was Money in the Bank holder Tiffany Stratton. But of course, me, the crowd, everyone knew that she was definitely going to play a part in this match. Nia took an early lead, using her size and strength as an advantage. Bayley did make a comeback, diving on Nia, and even at one point lifting her up off the ground. At one point, Nia reversed a Hurricane Rana, or at least tried to. It was kind of a botch, but Bayley sold it anyways. Nia landed on referee Jessica Carr, knocking her out. A very interesting ref bump. Bayley did get a visual pin, but then Tiffany Stratton came down. Tiffy time. Hits Bayley with the briefcase. Tiffany's realized Nia is still knocked out. Wakes up the referee, hands her the briefcase as though she's going to cash in. But then Jax gets up, a la Undertaker. Tiffany sees this, yanks the briefcase back, throws the briefcase to Bayley for some reason, who throws it back at her. Nia uses the distraction to hit a Samoan drop. Annihilator, 1, 2, 3. And still your WWE Women's Champion, Nia Jax, who's staring at Tiffany Stratton. Now, if I had been grading this one right after it happened or the next day, I'd have to maybe adjust, add some points for where it came on the card right after that incredible match. But it's a few days later. It's actually a few weeks later, so I'm actually going to look at it on its own, or try to look at it on its own. So, story. Well, the story between Nia and Tiffany is, I think at this point, an A, on its way to an A+. It's a really compelling story. It could be very interesting, especially at Crown Jewel. But the story with Nia and Bayley is like a C+, maybe a B- at best. It was a little bit hotter when they had a little bit more time to build it before SummerSlam, but now it's just Bayley coming out of nowhere, trying to get her championship back. I guess Tiffany was in this match, so you merge it all together. Let's say a B. Okay, a B for the story. In-ring storytelling, it was a solid B+, I think, all the way through. That little very interesting ref bump bumped it up a bit, as did Nia's Undertaker raise. That was great. But then there was the bit with Tiffany throwing the briefcase at Bayley, which made no sense. So you have to take off some points. Let's just say B+. B+ for the in-ring storytelling. In-ring work, there were some botches. Tiffany, I think, missed the first time with the briefcase, and then there was that sort of reversed Hurricane Rana that Bayley still sold, but it didn't really seem to go anywhere. But overall, it was very solid, very good. I think I'm going to have to give that another B. As far as crowd, I mean, the crowd was into it, except at one point they were also chanting for Tiffany when she wasn't even there yet, which meant they weren't really caring too much about the two people in the ring until the third person entered. So that sort of, I think, takes some off. So we're looking at maybe like a B minus. I guess my interest in the match, B minus. You know what? Overall, B minus for this match. It was a good effort. I also understand why it placed where it did on the card, because it was the only match on the card that didn't really have that sort of blood feud aspect to it. I mean, there's potentially a building rivalry between Bayley and between Nia and Tiffany, but we're not there yet. Bayley and Nia, it's just more about a belt, and that's not really what Bad Blood is supposed to be. There could be a championship involved, but it's mainly about a long-standing feud or a feud that's just started. There's got to be some bad blood between the people. So I understand where it was placed. I did enjoy the match. It was a little bit better than I expected, but not much. This match just sort of excited me for what's to come, because I think we were all sure that Bayley wasn't going to walk out of there the champion, but none of us were really sure if Nia was going to walk out of there the champion. The Nia Tiffany thing, which might come to a head at Crown Jewel, is more interesting, but still, this was definitely a good second match on the card, especially considering what came before it. Next match, former friends, now enemies, Damian Priest versus Finn Bálor. Bálor had a cool entrance with a mask. Priest came in like the cool over babyface that he is, got a good pop. Bálor got in quite a few stomps, raked Priest's eyes a bit. Priest did make a comeback. They fought to the outside on the announce table. There was the obligatory Judgment Day interference, which Priest dealt with but gave Bálor the lead again. With the ref distracted, Priest kicked a chair out of Bálor's hand. There were a few coup de graces, but Priest blocked the last one, turned it into a South of Heaven chokeslam. 1, 2, 3. That was a quick run through, and now this is a quick grading story. Well, the Judgment Day story has been on fire, but if you take Rhea, Liv, and Dom out of it, unfortunately, this aspect of the story at this point gets just a B+. In-ring storytelling, A-. In-ring work, an A. There's nothing wrong with it. The match worked as it was supposed to. Crowd reaction, B+, but of course, with crowd reactions, given the first match and the last match, everything's sort of on a curve with this show. Now, unfortunately, did it keep my interest or my personal interest? I have to give it a C-. Now, okay, don't get me wrong. I'm into the Judgment Day story. I think, overall grade, hate to say it, C+. I'm into the Judgment Day story. I like this story, and I think that this match has a lot of potential. This is almost the kind of match you could even put in a Hell in a Cell with a bit more build. But making the blow-off match here and doing it the way they did it, obviously you can't put it in the cell here because you have the other match in the cell, which needed it. It kind of felt like a Raw match. In fact, it felt like this match should have been the match on Raw, and the Sami Gunther match should have been the one on the PLE, except for the fact that there's no real bad blood, or at least to the level of these guys with Sami and Gunther. So it makes sense to put this one here. But I don't know. It just didn't do it. Like this would have been my bathroom break match. I mean, I was watching it at home, so I could go to the bathroom between the matches, so whatever. But if I was in Atlanta and I knew the lineup, this would probably be the match where I'd go get a drink, get some popcorn, go to the bathroom, come back. It was a good match. These are pros. I don't like that I'm grading this match low. And I think that now, despite what he said in the post-show press conference, I think it now looks like Damian Priest is going to go on to something else. Because unfortunately, this became the blow-off, even though it wasn't the best blow-off for a feud that has a real passion. They were buddies for a year. It was like a year in the build, but the Judgment Day story still has steam, but I think the Priest aspect of it has to go to something else. So good match, very good job. If they do Priest and Bálor again, I might be more interested, but on this show, unfortunately, that's how the cookie crumbles. And then it was time to play the game. That's right. WWE's Chief Content Officer, Paul Triple H Levesque, the architect of the Paul Levesque era, or as I wish it was called, and I believe he wishes it was called, the Renaissance era. It might still get called that. Comes to the ring, talks about how this is yet another sellout in 2024 for the WWE. The crowd, of course, cheers. He talks about how this is the largest arena gate in company history, which the crowd also cheers for. That's kind of a flex, I think I would say, for a TKO board meeting or a press conference, but telling a bunch of people they paid more money than the last group of the same number of people is interesting. But anyways, he was there to announce the fact that at Crown Jewel, they were going to have champion versus champion for both the men and the women. The titles wouldn't be on the line, but there is something on the line, and he unveils the ugliest championship belt I have seen. Look at it. Take a good look at it. Now, don't get me wrong. I actually think this champion versus champion thing is interesting, especially for the women. For the men, I think it's a little too soon to do Gunther and Cody. Spoiler alert, Gunther beat Sami. But the actual belt itself, which the champion won't defend but will hold for a year until next year, that's an interesting idea, but look at it. This is, where is it? This is not a good looking belt. This is not a slick belt. There's a lot of jewels. It probably costs more than any other title. Anyways, that's just my opinion, and that doesn't really affect the concept of doing this. World Heavyweight Champion Gunther, the ring general, comes to the ring, says it wouldn't be Crown Jewel without the ring general, without the World Heavyweight Champion, says he's going to beat Sami Zayn. And then he turns his attention to some of the veterans, the legends in the crowd, in particular Goldberg, or rather Bill Goldberg, because that's how Gunther referred to him, and that's how Bret Hart refers to him. And Gunther was talking to Bret Hart a few weeks ago, and to troll Bret Hart, said that Bill Goldberg was his favorite wrestler growing up. But he revealed here that no, that was just a lie. Why would he, the greatest wrestler of the current generation, be a fan of a one-trick pony like Goldberg? Goldberg took it in stride, but then he went to Goldberg's son. He said, I hope your dad is a better father than he is a professional wrestler. At which point, Goldberg was not too pleased. He jumped the barricade. A bunch of security stopped him as Gunther was saying, come on, I've got 3 minutes for you, Bill. As the crowd went wild, thinking we were going to get Gunther Goldberg, Sami Zayn came in to a big pop attack Gunther. They fought down the aisle. The announcers plugged their match on Raw, and Triple H raised Goldberg's hand in the ring. I know it's a segment, not a match, so I shouldn't really grade it, but I will. Let's say on a different scale, though. For the segment overall, I'd give it an A. It was fun. I liked how they potentially teased Gunther versus Goldberg, which I don't think is going to happen. Also, Goldberg seems to be more appreciative of the new management, whereas he had an issue with Vince before. Who knows? Goldberg might get a final match. Bringing Gunther in, Sami, that's always fun. For the concept of this, these two champion versus champion matches, I'm way more interested in the women's one because there's going to be the two women's champions with Tiffany Stratton and the Money in the Bank briefcase there. That could be interesting. I wonder if Tiffany cashes in mid-match. Would the winner then get both championships and the Crown Jewel championship? Gunther versus Cody, I think we've all wanted to see that match for a while. I kind of want to see it with a bit of a storyline build-up, maybe at WrestleMania or at least SummerSlam, not just for some random championship, which is pretty much a trophy. Anyways, I guess I'll give that a B+. But the design of that belt, D-. Like, they should have just gone with a trophy. It's not like they're going to have to defend it, or hopefully they won't have to carry it around. They should have gone with a trophy. Yes, you can be proud. Like, Cody could say, I beat Gunther. Gunther could say, I beat Cody. I'm the top champion. That's what it's for. This ugly belt, no. I don't know if that was like, the Saudi government that insisted on a belt like that, or they just hired a different belt designer, said put a bunch of jewels into it. I don't know. It just does not appeal to me aesthetically. Anyways, I actually did overall like this segment more than the Priest Bálor match, but that's a whole other story. Anyways, moving along, for the Women's World Championship, the champion Liv Morgan defends against former champion Rhea Ripley with Dirty Dominik Mysterio suspended in a shark cage. Liv and Dirty Dominik Mysterio arrive in the Lowrider, which, by the way, is available for sale from Hot Wheels. Rhea arrives to a massive pop with the Dominik Mysterio toilet paper, which is available from WWE Shop for, I believe, $18 a roll. Good to see their merch game strong. After Dom's put in the cage, Liv goes to work on Rhea's knee, which she injured on Raw. Rhea makes a comeback. Liv works on the knee some more, with the focus shifting back to Dom in the shark cage. Dom gets the shark cage open and accidentally falls out of it and is dangling from it. Liv goes to save him. Rhea takes out Liv, brings her back to the ring, is about to beat Liv, but then says to the referee, or asks the referee's permission to not be counted out to go take care of some other business, which the referee obliges, which is kind of odd. With the referee's blessing, Rhea takes a kendo stick from under the ring, starts beating Dom like he's a piñata. Raquel Rodriguez, who's been away for a while, comes in, attacks Rhea. The referee clearly sees it. The bell rings. Raquel slams Rhea in the ring, puts Liv on top of her, but the bell's already rung. Rhea's won by disqualification, but your women's world champion is still Liv Morgan. Okay, there was definitely something botchy and messy about that finish. The referee clearly saw Raquel attack Rhea, and he immediately turned around and looked anywhere else, hoping it wasn't caught on camera. But of course, it was caught on camera, so the bell rang, probably from Triple H and Gorilla, who knows. But still, Raquel puts Liv on top of Rhea after attacking Rhea again in the ring, even though the bell had already rung. So instead of Liv winning via cheating through Raquel, Rhea won by disqualification. I'm sure that wasn't the actual plan. Also, at one point, I think Dom might have actually gotten out of the cage a bit, opened up the cage door a bit too early. Who knows? Regardless, that's definitely going to affect the scoring. So let's go with scoring. Story, at this point, this story is still an A+. They were headed for a solid A with in-ring storytelling, but because of the botches, I'm going to have to drop that to an A-. In-ring work, it was very good, but again, the ending was a little weird, so I'm going to actually drop that to a B+. Crowd reaction, still an A+, and my interest, still an A+. So overall, you have to count the botches in. It kind of messed up the ending. I'm going to give this an A-. A-. Still a decent grade. Would have been an A+ without the botches at the end. But I like where this story is going. I mean, before this, I was thinking like, okay, they really don't want to give the Rhea the championship right now. They want to keep this going maybe till WrestleMania or maybe some other point. But at the same point, too, with Dom in the shark cage, there was no logical reason why Liv would retain. But of course, Raquel became that logical reason. So that was very good planning, very good storytelling. Unfortunately, there was a bit of a mess up with the execution at the end, but this was a fun match to watch. Very good. Also, Rhea asking the referee for permission to go and attack Dom was a bit odd, but you know what? It kind of works storyline-wise because Dom was not a combatant in the match. He was just somebody out there that Rhea could attack. And if he attacked back, that would have been a disqualification. But still, it made sense. It was good. It was fun to watch. I'm glad we had it. I just wish the ending was a little bit better. In the official main event last match, the undisputed WWE champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, teaming with the original tribal chief, Roman Reigns, versus new bloodline members, Jacob Fatu, and the self-proclaimed new tribal chief, Solo Sikoa. After Solo and Jacob were introduced and in the ring, they were greeted by a full marching band playing Cody Rhodes' theme song. And then the actual theme song kicked in. Cody made his entrance. Roman Reigns entered with Aura and a full orchestra playing his theme song. There were quite a bit of stare downs after the bell rang. A lot of dramatic pausing and Roman gradually asking for a tag when Solo was in and Cody taking his time, eventually tagging him. They were really milking it, as you expect them to. Really great crowd pops. Jacob was really strong, though Cody did get some moves in on him. Jacob even got some moves in on Roman. Yeah, it was sort of a slow build, but it didn't feel that slow. There were some hot tags at one point. Roman almost missed tagging in because he was dragged off the apron. Eventually, he revs the crowd up for him and Cody. He gets the tag, gets back in. And then Cody puts Jacob Fatu on the announce table, dives on him, taking both of them out of the match for the end of the match. With Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa at ringside, Solo takes the lead until a mysterious hooded stranger takes out Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. And of course, it's Jimmy Uso. Shocking Solo. Roman, of course, takes advantage, gets the win, and then realizes Jimmy Uso's there. Roman and Jimmy reunite, hug. At this point, Cody stumbles back into the ring, realizing they won the match. Roman and Jimmy are leaving, but then Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa attack Cody in the ring. Solo comes back, Jacob Fatu. Jimmy urges Roman to do something, but like I said, it's his call, and you did say you have his back. And of course, Roman becomes a complete babyface at this point, and him and Jimmy go back to take out Solo and the bloodline, basically. Roman picks up the championship, hands it to Cody, but then we hear, "If you smell!" Rock comes out, stares at probably Cody, but maybe Cody and Roman. Trying to read between the lines here. The music stops. He counts 1, 2, 3, does the throat-cutting gesture. Music starts again. He leaves with Cody and Roman and Jimmy Uso in shock in the ring. Okay, the story, it's the bloodline story. It's getting really interesting again. A+. In-ring storytelling, especially the way Roman was really milking those tags at the beginning. I'd say A+. These people know how to tell a story with their faces, with their physically excellent in-ring work, like the spots and everything. I mean, not the most spectacular stuff I've ever seen, but decent. I'd say maybe an A-. Crowd reaction, A+. Was I interested? A+. So I'm going to give this one an A+. It's not as big an A+ as the opening match, but it was still quite a good match. I like the fact that they actually made Roman a full-fledged babyface, because if he didn't come in to help Cody, then that wouldn't be possible. So he ended up coming in at the end to help Cody after they already won the match. It shows his beef is not with Cody. Also, The Rock being there, it's really interesting. Is The Rock really running Solo's new bloodline? Is he the final boss with Solo as his tribal chief? Guess we're going to find that out. I like the fact that The Rock didn't actually say anything. He just sort of looked there and then left. He did cut a promo, still not just saying that he's still upset with Cody, basically, but not really explaining what happened or what his thinking is on Instagram. Also, speaking of social media, there was the part that that wasn't part of the broadcast, wasn't even acknowledged officially by WWE. Kevin Owens turned heel on Cody in the parking lot, attacked him. There was no official camera. I'm sure that some of the people who were fans were actually, one of them was probably working for the company filming just in case, but no, there was plenty of fan footage. It got out. Triple H did the whole we are aware tweet of we are aware of the incident between Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes in the parking lot. We're handling it internally, and they tried to keep it off the show until they couldn't do it, and Kevin Owens showed up on the show. Anyways, that's just a great bit of like theater, a great bit of like a different way to get your story out there. And that wasn't even part of this match, so I'm not even counting as part of it. But this match was a great progression in the story. It made perfect sense as the main event of the show, even though it wasn't the best match. Will this be remembered as one of the greatest matches of all time? No. But was this exciting? Did this keep me interested? Was this a perfect main event progression in an incredibly interesting story? Absolutely. That's why I think it definitely deserved this spot, and it was a great way to end Bad Blood. So those were my thoughts on Bad Blood 2024 from Atlanta, Georgia. So my favorite match, of course, was the opener, which is clear. Then the main event, as second. Then I'd have to go with Liv and Rhea as third, despite the botches. Then Nia and Bayley. And unfortunately, last, even though it was a perfectly fine match, Finn and Priest. I also like the segment with Gunther, even though that belt's ugly. But I guess overall, I have to give this one a B- because there was some incredible stuff and some okay stuff. But do you agree with what I thought? Let me know in the comments. Follow at Silo Voice Wrestling on Instagram and Facebook, at Silo Wrestling on X, and me at Jason C. McLean on X and Instagram. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and of course, ring that bell for notifications. I will be back with more content sooner than you think. For Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, I'm Jason C. McLean.